Hey, you ever notice how trees are like the ultimate chill squad? I mean, they're just standing there, looking peaceful, like they've got all the time in the world. But guess what? They're actually super active, just in a really slow, mysterious way. So here's the thing. Trees don't just stand there. They're like sending messages to their roots like a secret club. But how do they whisper to the ground? It's like asking, hey, how do you text your feet? You know how you can't hear a whisper from across the room? Trees are like that, but with their roots. They're using some kind of super slow, invisible communication system. Like, if you could hear it, it'd sound like a baby's hum, but way more intense. And here's the kicker. They're not just chatting. They're passing out food, warning each other about droughts, and even helping each other grow. It's like a tree version of a Facebook group, but with more roots and less hashtags. So, the question is, how do trees whisper secrets to their roots? Well, we're about to find out. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm ready for what I'm about to learn. But let's go, shall we? So, what exactly are we talking about? Trees don't have a mouth, but they do have a way of talking to their roots. It's like a family secret passed down through the soil. This isn't just some spooky tree magic. It's real, it's science, and it's kind of cool. Trees actually send messages to their roots through a network of fungi. Think of it like a tree's version of a Wi-Fi signal. These messages are basically chemical signals. The tree is like, hey, root, there's a drought coming. Or there's a bug invasion, I need help. The roots get the message and respond by sending water or nutrients where they're needed. So it's not like the tree is whispering in the dark. It's more like a tree sending out a text and the roots are like, oh, got it, I'll take that to heart. This whole system is called the mycorrhizal network, and it's basically the internet of the forest. Trees, fungi, roots, all connected, all sharing, all trying to survive together. You think you're just sitting there, eating chips and watching cat videos, but guess what? You're actually part of a giant, ancient conversation that's been going on for thousands of years. Trees are like the old, wise grandmas of the forest, and you're the kid who accidentally walks in on their secret tea party. Every time you breathe a tree's oxygen, you're basically saying, hey, I'm here, I'm breathing, I'm part of this whole weird, magical system. It's like being invited to a dinner party you didn't know existed, but the food is actually life itself. So, yeah, you should care. Because if you didn't, you'd be the only person on Earth who doesn't know that trees are basically like, hey, I'm alive, I'm connected, and I'm trying to talk to my family underground. You're part of the conversation, and it's kinda cool. Also, if you don't care, you're basically ignoring the whole planet's nervous system. Trees are trying to warn us about climate change, and you're just scrolling through Instagram. That's a bad look. Stay connected, stay curious, and maybe, just maybe, you'll start to feel like you belong in this weird, beautiful, ancient conversation. Okay, let's rewind to the Carboniferous period, like 300 million years ago. Trees were basically the original Instagram influencers, posting photos of themselves in the sun, and their roots were like comment sections full of whispers. Back then, the air was thick with CO2, and trees had to shout to be heard. But their roots, they were the quiet ones, like the person in the group chat who only replies with a huh and MHM but knows everything. Fast forward to the Jurassic, and trees were still chatty, but now they had more friends. Roots started getting more messages, like a tree with a ton of followers and a root that's getting DMs from every direction. Then came the Ice Age, and trees had to hibernate. Their roots were like the old friends who still text you remember that time. Even when you're not around, they were the ones keeping the memories alive. And now, trees are still whispering, but their roots have evolved into something like a neural network. They're basically the internet of the forest, sharing data, nutrients, and maybe even gossip. So trees don't actually whisper, but they do talk to their roots. Like when you text your mom, but instead of a phone, they use roots and chemicals. It's like a tree version of a group chat, but way more chill. They send signals through the soil, like a secret code. It's not loud, it's not shouting, it's more like a tree saying, hey, I'm thirsty, can you bring me some water? The roots hear the message, like a kid hearing a secret in a playground. They respond by growing more or sending back nutrients, like a conversation in the dirt. It's not just about water, though. Trees also send warnings, like when a bug is coming. The roots get the message and tell other trees, like a buddy system in the forest. So, trees don't whisper, but they definitely chat. It's like a tree version of a text message, but with roots and chemicals. And I'm not even mad about the lack of emojis. Okay, so trees want to talk to their roots, but they don't have a phone. So what's the plan? Well, they use a secret messenger system, like a walkie-talkie, but with water and chemicals. First, the tree has to set up the line. That's like building a cable from the trunk down to the roots. It uses something called xylem. It's like a pipe system for water and chemicals. so the tree sends out signals through these pipes, like a message in a bottle. The roots pick it up and start listening. It's like when you whisper to a friend and they hear you through a wall. But wait, trees don't actually whisper. They send chemical signals through their roots. It's like sending a text message but with a lot of sticky stuff and no emojis. So the setup is basically a water and chemical highway. The tree sends out the message, the root receives it, and then it can reply or just sit there and listen. Like a text conversation, but in the dirt. Okay, so the tree sends a message to the roots, but how? Well, it turns out the message is kind of like a phone call, but with chemicals instead of a phone. The tree uses a special mix of hormones and sugars to talk to its roots. It's like when you text your mom, but she's actually a plant. These chemicals travel through the tree like a highway system, but instead of cars, it's tiny messengers called plant hormones. They zip through the vascular system, which is basically the tree's version of veins and arteries. It's like a party line, but for plants. Once the hormones get to the roots, they basically say, hey, we need more water and nutrients. It's like when you text your roommate, can you bring me a sandwich? But with a lot more chlorophyll. The roots then respond by growing or stretching to get what the tree needs. The whole process is super fast, but it's not like a text message. It takes time for the hormones to travel, like waiting for your phone to load a picture. But the tree doesn't care. It just keeps sending signals like a chatty friend who never stops talking. In the end, the tree and roots are like best friends, constantly chatting through chemicals. They don't need a phone or internet, just a bunch of hormones and a little bit of patience. It's kind of like how we talk to each other, but with more roots and less Wi-Fi. Okay, so the roots are like the tree's ears, but they're also the tree's mouth. They're the one doing the talking, not just listening. The roots can't just shout, though. They've got to be subtle, like a whisper in a crowded room. That's where the chemicals come in like secret handshakes. And guess what? The roots aren't just the tree's ears. They're also the tree's feet. They feel the soil, the water, the pressure, and they tell the tree what's up. So the roots are doing the whispering, the listening, the feeling, and the talking all at once. It's like a family of tree friends, sharing secrets in a language only they understand. Okay, so here's the thing, trees don't whisper, they shout. Like, really shout. For the soil, it's like if you had a megaphone stuck in your garden and you were yelling at your roots. But instead of words, it's chemicals and hormones and stuff that's basically a tree's version of a text message. These chemicals are like the tree's way of saying, hey, I'm stressed. I'm hungry. I need more water. And the roots are like, oh, I heard that. I'll go get you some water right away. It's like a tree and root teaming up for survival, but with more yelling and less hand-holding. But here's the kicker, this whole yelling thing isn't just one way. Roots can also send messages back up to the tree, like, hey, I found some nice soil over here, and there's a little bit of water. It's a conversation, not a monologue. Trees are like, oh, we're actually talking here. And if you think that's all, you're missing the main event. There's also this thing called mycorrhizal networks, which is basically a fungus that acts as a middleman. It's like a tree's Wi-Fi, connecting them all together. The fungi are like the internet, and the trees are the users. Quick word from our sponsor. If this sounds like something you'd enjoy, take a look at the Stanley Quencher 40-oz tumbler. There's a link and a QR code on screen right now, and in the description below. Alright, back to it. So yeah, trees aren't whispering. They're basically yelling at their roots through a fungal internet. It's like if you had a group chat with your plants, and they were all giving you updates. It's science, but also kind of a drama series. So imagine you're at a party, and your best friend is the kind of person who always knows what you're thinking. They don't need words, they just know. That's like how roots know what the tree needs before the tree even asks. The tree's like, hey, I need some water, but I don't want to shout it out loud. Let me just send a message through the ground. And the roots are like, oh, I got that vibe, let me get the water squad over here. The whole system is like a family with a really good intuition. The tree doesn't need to explain, the roots just know what's up. No need for a translator, just a really good vibe. So in the end, trees and roots are like best friends who read each other's minds. One doesn't need to say anything, the other just knows. That's how they whisper secrets through the ground. Okay, so trees don't actually whisper, but they do talk to their roots. It's like when you text your mom and say, I'm fine, but you're actually crying in the bathroom. But trees use chemicals and electrical signals to chat. Imagine if your phone could send text messages through the air, but instead of Wi-Fi, it uses smell. Trees do something like that. They release chemicals into the air that their roots can smell and understand. It's not just about talking. Trees also warn each other about danger. Like when your friend texts you, OMG, there's a bear, and you immediately run. Trees send out signals that their roots can sense, so they can prepare for storms or insects. Some people think this is magic, but it's just science. Trees are like old friends who share secrets through a weird, slow version of texting. They don't need to shout or use emojis, they just use chemistry. So next time you see a tree, remember it's not just standing there, it's having a chat with its roots, sending out messages like a gossiping grandma. Nature's got its own way of keeping in touch. Okay, so the first myth is that trees actually whisper to their roots. I mean, sure, they talk, but not in the way you'd imagine. It's more like a telepathy party with a side of fungi. You know how sometimes you think you hear your plants talking? Well, that's just your brain mixing up the sounds of leaves rustling and wind. Trees don't have lips, so whispering isn't really their thing. But here's the kicker: trees do communicate, just not with a whisper. They use chemical signals and fungal networks, like a secret message in a bottle, but the bottle is made of mushrooms. So the real secret isn't in the whisper, it's in the underground internet. Trees are like internet users who only use Wi-Fi and never talk to people. They just send messages through their roots. And that's why the first myth is busted. Trees don't whisper, they chat through the soil. And honestly, I think they're just trying to get more water and avoid getting pruned. That's the real secret. So, here's the thing. Roots don't actually whisper. They're not like, talking to each other through the soil. They're more like sending messages through the ground like a secret club. It's not like a phone call or a text message. It's more like a slow, chemical text. They use something called root exudates to pass info around. And here's the kicker. The roots don't even know they're doing it. They're just, going about their business, and the tree is kind of like the CEO sending out emails. So, the idea that trees whisper is kind of like saying your fridge is a secret spy. It's not wrong, but it's not quite right either. Anyway, the real thing is, they're actually using the soil like a kind of internet. Just not the kind you can hear or see. Ever notice how your phone tells you when your coffee is ready? Trees do the same thing with their roots. It's like a plant version of a smart fridge. Your plants are basically saying, "Hey, I'm thirsty," to the soil. It's like a plant text message, but with roots and water. Your Wi-Fi router is like a tree's root system. It's all about sending and receiving signals, just like roots send and receive nutrients. Your brain is like a tree's root system. It's all about sending messages through nerves, just like roots send messages through chemicals. Next time you're in the kitchen, think about how your plants are having a chat with the soil. It's the plant version of a family dinner. Okay, so I went to this forest and found a tree that was literally screaming at its roots. I mean, not literally, but it was like the tree was giving a monologue about how much it missed its roots. The roots were like, "Dude, we're underground, we don't hear you." Turns out, the tree was just sending chemical signals through the soil like a text message. The roots were getting the message, but they weren't replying. It was like a one-way conversation. I was like, is this even a conversation? Then I saw a fungus network connecting everything, like a Wi-Fi for trees. The fungus was the internet, and the tree was trying to send a meme. The roots were like, "I don't know what this is, but it's weird." So the tree wasn't whispering. It was trying to send a meme. The roots were just trying to figure out what a meme is. I was like, this is why trees are so confused. In the end, the tree gave up and just sat there, like, "I'm done. I'm going to sleep. I need to dream about my roots." Okay, so trees are like the old guys of the forest, always telling stories to their roots. But here's the thing, they don't whisper, they yell, like a kid screaming into a megaphone at a park. But it's actually a chemical scream. These chemical screams are like the tree's way of saying, "Hey, I'm hungry, I'm thirsty, I'm getting attacked by bugs, and I need you to help me survive." It's basically a 24/7 emergency call center, but with roots instead of operators. Some trees even send their roots out like scouts, exploring the soil for water, nutrients, and even other trees to share secrets with. It's like a secret club for tree roots, and they're all in on the gossip. The whole system is so intense, it's like a tree has a brain, a nervous system, and a full-time support team. And they're all doing it with just chemicals and a little bit of yelling. So yeah, trees are basically the original social media influencers, but with roots and a lot more chemicals. They've got the whole network going, and they're not shy about it. Okay, so trees are like, "I got this, I'm chill, I'm not worried about anything." But then one day, the root system starts screaming. Like, "I'm being poisoned, I'm being suffocated, I'm being stabbed with fungal needles." And the tree's like, "Wait, what? Did I accidentally drink a toxic sludge? I thought I was just watering my plants." The roots can't scream, so they send out chemical SOS signals. It's like a tree version of a smoke alarm, but instead of beeping, it's basically throwing a party with poisons. The tree is like, "Oh no, my roots are in trouble, I need to send help, but I don't know how to call 911. The tree tries to save its roots by sending nutrients, but it's like trying to help a drowning person by throwing them more water. The roots are now underwater, and the tree is like, I'm not a god, I'm just a plant, I can't fix everything. Eventually, the roots give up. They stop growing, they stop communicating, and the tree is left with a broken system. It's like your Wi-Fiing while you're trying to stream a movie. The tree is left in the dark, and the roots are just gone. And then, the tree dies, not because it was attacked, but because it was ignored. The roots were trying to scream, but no one listened. It's like the tree had a friend in trouble, and instead of helping, everyone just kept talking over them. So you're like, cool, trees talk to their roots. But here's the catch, most of the time, they're just shouting into a void. Roots can't hear much, and the tree's not exactly a great speaker. Imagine trying to whisper a secret to someone who's buried under a pile of dirt and can't even see you. It's like trying to talk to a baby in a bassinet. You're shouting, they're sleeping. Trees also can't really whisper like humans. They're more like yelling, sending chemical signals through the soil, and hoping someone notices. It's like trying to text someone who's on mute. So yeah, the tree's trying to communicate, but the root's like, I'm busy eating fungi and trying to survive. It's not a perfect system, but it works. Mostly. In the end, it's not a secret society or a tree version of WhatsApp. It's just two plants trying to get through to each other. And honestly, I'm surprised they're still friends. Quick word from our sponsor. If this sounds like something to enjoy, take a look at the Amazon Echo Dub smart speaker. There's a link and a QR code on screen right now, and in the description below. Alright, back to it. Before you go, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And tell us in the comments what you'd like us to make next. We read every single one. Thank you so much for watching. Comment this emoji if you made it to the end.